All right, what is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to the KC Sports Report. Michael Darcy, your host here as always. And today I'm going to break down the Kansas City Chiefs' hard-fought victory over the Denver Broncos in NFL Week 18. So the Kansas City Chiefs just beat the Denver Broncos on the road in the Mile High City by a final score of 28-24. And with this win, the Chiefs finished the season with a 12-5 record. They've also now beat the Broncos 13 consecutive times. And with the loss, the Broncos fall to 7-10. You know, this is the first time the NFL has played 18 games in the season. So that is an obstacle the Chiefs were going to have to overcome. But this game was all over the place. You know, as a Chiefs fan, we're not really used to beating the Broncos by a ton. Like, they play us close sometimes, but, you know, the Chiefs will blow them out here or there. Today was an instance in which the Broncos brought their A game. We really did have a lot of problems stopping Drew Lock, which we probably shouldn't have had. And the offense of the Broncos looked pretty good today. They put up 24 points, and that was an offense that wasn't very good. They could run the ball effectively against our defense. Drew Lock was finding some pretty key breakaways on like third down where he was able to scramble and get some big time first downs. I mean, he had 2 rushing touchdowns with his legs. At one point, the Chiefs went into the half trailing 14-10. And ultimately, it didn't end up mattering because the Chiefs won this game by 4 points. But I'm really concerned with this Chiefs team going into the playoffs. Because do you think that with no bye, let's just say the Texans cannot take care of business tomorrow, the Texans fall to the Titans, the Chiefs are playing this next weekend. The Chiefs are either playing the Chargers, the Raiders, or the Colts, I guess you could say. I'm not sure if I'm confident in the Chiefs beating any of those teams. I don't know. The Chiefs are 3 games away from the Super Bowl, or 4 games away from winning it, but I don't know if they can win 4 games in a row right now. It's just like, and it's not just the Chiefs. I don't know who's going to come out of the AFC. And, you know, I guess we'll talk about this later on in the video and in episodes to come, but I can't help but come out of this game feeling like no one has really said definitively that we're the best team in the AFC. The Chiefs had that chance last week. They couldn't do it against the Bengals, and this was kind of a get-right game, and I thought they came out flat. You know, the offense did look good on the first drive. They had a 17-play drive and milked over 7 minutes of the clock in the first quarter. The Chiefs ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive. Mahomes hit Kelsey with a little float pass. Easy touchdown. But as we've seen this happen year in, year out, seemingly, I guess week in, week out, the Chiefs' first drive offense is phenomenal. It's probably the best in the NFL. But after that, they really struggle. And that was the case in this game. The Chiefs could not run the ball. Darrell Williams had a lot of problems. You know, you didn't have Clyde in this game. You had to resort to Jerick McKinnon, who did look pretty good in this game. He caught a little dump-off pass and was able to hit a few guys, spin move, and then get into the end zone for a touchdown. But he didn't really get a lot of carries, and he didn't result in a ton of yards from scrimmage on the ground. Patrick Mahomes was your leading rusher today. He had 54 yards on 9 attempts, and he dropped back to pass like 45 times. And he didn't have a great game, but he didn't have a bad game. And ultimately, I mean, Patrick Mahomes was trying to do everything he could to win this game. But from what I saw, it looked like the Chiefs came out flat with no energy. This team in the first half were making a lot of business decisions. Oh, I don't want to hit that guy. I don't want to touch that guy. We're not going to leave a spy on Drew Lock. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. We're just going to try to get into the playoffs healthy. And in the first half, that did not work out very well. The Chiefs got their asses handed to them in the first half. The Broncos should not have been leading at any point in this game. And they were. They went into the half with the lead. But, you know, again, I could say the Chiefs keep making their own mistakes. They keep killing themselves. Because you had a chance to stop the Broncos. You did stop the Broncos on defense. They had to punt. And then Zane Anderson, the undrafted free agent that for whatever reason is on this team for the second time in 2 weeks, has costed this team a major play. He ended up roughing the kicker. The Broncos got 15 free yards, extending their drive, and they went down the field and scored. Zane Anderson has been the result in 14 points over the past 2 weeks. He's costed this team 14 points. That's unacceptable. This dude's a UDFA. Why is he on the football field? And then later on in the game, Tommy Townsend punted it. Marcus Kemp ended up batting it away from the goal line, and Zane Anderson couldn't down it. So it's just like, I don't understand why Zane Anderson is getting this special treatment. He's been terrible. He's been really bad. But, I really want to talk about how slippery the field was, because the Chiefs are having a lot of problems. And maybe that's why the offense wasn't great today, or the defense wasn't trying to go all out, because the field was really bad. Like, people were slipping all over the place. Chunks of grass were coming up. But this game was important. You were able to win it, and now you're still in contention for the number 1 seed. But it just seemed like at times the effort wasn't there today. And that's what's concerning, because I don't really know a bigger game than today. Like, you're going to be playing in the playoffs next week, but this game was to keep you alive. And I know they ended up winning the game, but this Broncos team should not have been in this game for as long as they were. Now let's talk about the turning point in this game, because honestly, without this play, you wouldn't have won the game, regardless of how good Patrick Mahomes played at times or anything like that. At 2nd and 2, at the 9-yard line, the Broncos handed the ball off to Melvin Gordon, and the other Melvin, the better Melvin today, Melvin Ingram, came around the edge, busted that ball loose. Nick Bolton picked it up, scooped it, and scored it. And the Chiefs went up 26-21. They ended up going for 2. Patrick Mahomes took it himself, which made it 28-21. And at that point, you had the game. Like, don't get me twisted. Like, the Broncos could have won this game, but they ended up going down the field, almost getting in the red zone again. They kicked a field goal, which made it 28-24. And with 4 minutes left in the game, the Chiefs were not going to give the ball back to the offense. And they just led that team down the field, milked the clock, and the Chiefs were able to get somewhat in the red zone. Travis Kelce on 3rd down caught a big pass from Patrick Mahomes on 3rd and long. That sealed the game. And the Chiefs were able to come out of Denver with a big-time win. But as I keep trying to tell you guys, I don't know how confident you guys are after this win, but my confidence is not very high. Like, this Chiefs team could either go all the way to get to the Super Bowl, they could win, but I could also see them losing next week. There's no in between. I don't know what is going on. A defense that looks so good over the last 8 or 9 games, they just fell apart in the last 2 weeks of the season. Now, the Bengals, I kind of understand it because their offense is so good, and you got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon, but Drew Lock and Tim Patrick should not be doing this. Like, Drew Lock only threw for 162 yards, but it was more than what he did with his feet. Tim Patrick had 6 receptions for 95 yards, and Melvin Gordon, who did have that costly fumble, he ran the ball pretty well today. He had that big breakaway run where Anthony Hitchens got stuffed. Maybe it was Nick Bolton that got stuffed, and they just let him go like 70-plus yards, and it was an easy score. That's the kind of stuff that concerns me, because we didn't see that over the course of the Chiefs' winning streak. They were not giving up big plays. And a lot of the time today, whether it was Dan Sorensen again in coverage, like Steve Spagnuolo has not learned anything over the past 2 weeks, it was just big play after big play, big 3rd down. Drew Lock would find a way to just scramble and get that 1st down, or he would complete it. The Chiefs really struggled today. And I understand that it's not how you win, it just matters that you win. But this is a team that has Super Bowl expectations and Super Bowl aspirations. Do you think this Chiefs team that beat the Broncos, I get it, it's a tough environment on the road, you're a mile high, but at the end of the day, winning by 4 points, and you had some key injuries along your offense, I'm not sure how I'm feeling. And I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that, because how are you feeling? Because I think this Chiefs team could either go all the way, but they could also lose next week and their season's over. I really don't know. But let's talk about some of the key injuries, because those are pretty important. Tyreek Hill had a calf injury, I believe, or maybe it was a heel injury in the pregame. For whatever reason, the Chiefs were just throwing him out there in this game, and I understand that it's important, but he looked even more banged up after getting very limited snaps. And then on that final play of the game, where Patrick Mahomes dropped back on 3rd and long and hit Travis Kelce for the game-winning first down, he got shaken up on that play, and he came limping off the field with a hip injury. And again, if you have to play next week against whatever team in the wild card round, having your top 2 options on offense not play in this game, that's not ideal. That's really bad. And I don't think that, we're not going to have them, but they're not going to be 100%. And so we're going to have to see other guys step up. And speaking of other guys stepping up, I thought Jerick McKinnon played pretty well today, but Mecole Hardman gets my game MVP. Mecole Hardman played an exceptional game of football today. He had 8 receptions for 103 yards. He had that big little screen pass that he was able to get blocking in front of him and just outran everybody. That basically kept the clock going in the final 4 minutes of the game, and it iced the game for the Chiefs. But I thought Mecole Hardman played really good football today. Without some of your best weapons on offense, Mecole Hardman hasn't been that reliable in his time in Kansas City, but he came up clutch today. You got to give it to him. He looked really good today. And I understand that the Broncos defense has always been tight against the Chiefs. Like that game earlier this season at Arrowhead, it was close. And even last year on Sunday Night Football, that game was close. But I can't help but feel like your defense didn't do anything against this offense in the Broncos that was really struggling, and they weren't a good offense. And that's what concerns me. That's what scares me, because when you face a team like the Colts or the Chargers, you know they can put up 30 plus. And I don't know if our offense right now can keep up if our defense doesn't pull their weight. And today, I get it, that play where Melvin Ingram forced that fumble on Gordon and Nick Bolton took it all the way back, that won them the game. But would that win them the game if they were going up against a better opponent? That's what I'm concerned about. And I guess only time will tell. But I think the Chiefs are going to have to continue to get better. Execution's a big thing. They failed to do a lot today. And your execution's going to have to be flawless in the playoffs. Like today, Byron Pringle and even Tyreek Hill at times didn't do exactly what Mahomes thought they were going to do. There was just a miscommunication, and it resulted in a dead play. And that's the kind of stuff that come playoff time, you can't have happening. The margin for error is so small in just a regular NFL game. And this is the playoffs, guys. So we're going to have to see the execution get better. We're going to have to see the play calling get better. We're going to have to see the defense go out there and smack guys in the mouth, because I thought that the effort today on defense, at least in the first half, was piss poor. I thought it was really bad. So I want to see this Chiefs team come out. If they do have to play next week, if they do have to play in the wild card round, I want to see them come out there with some energy. I want to see them come out there with some fire. And if they do that, I still think the Chiefs can win and still can get back to the Super Bowl, but it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a real challenge. And this might be the toughest challenge this Chiefs team under the Patrick Mahomes tenure has ever faced. But if anyone's up for the challenge, it would be this team. They've faced a lot of adversity this year, and I hope that they can face more adversity and overcome it in the playoffs. So the Chiefs are able to win this game in Denver by a final score of 28-24, but not a super overwhelming win. And the Chiefs hopefully will be playing in the playoffs in 2 weeks, but it's likely that they will be playing in the wild card weekend next week. Thank you for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe for more of the best Chiefs content on YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram for more of the latest updates on future videos, as well as instant Chiefs news right after it happens. You can also support the channel via the Patreon, as well as buying merchandise from the KC Sports Report store on Teespring. The links to all of those websites will be in the description. You just listened to the KC Sports Report, presented by Michael Darcy.